HOA said my fence violated rules. I'm the city official who drafted those rules. If you'd told me I'd be cited for building a fence I designed within code down to the millimeter, I'd have laughed. If you'd told me I'd be cited by a woman with no credentials, no authority, and a fake HOA badge from Etsy, I'd have warned her to sit down and rethink her life. But that's not how it went. My name is Isaiah Beck, 42, public servant. I've spent the last 12 years in the City of Durham's Planning and Zoning Department, most recently as lead compliance officer for residential structures. I don't say that to brag, I say it to clarify. I know every fence code, setback margin, height variance, and sightline easement in this city. 2 months ago, I moved into a fixer-upper in a modest neighborhood just west of town, Ash Ridge, a split-level house with a neglected yard, but potential. I just finalized a divorce, and this was my fresh start. My backyard opened up to a shared green space. I put up a 6-foot cedar fence well within guidelines, poured the concrete myself, checked the property lines, called 811, waited for my inspections, triple-checked permits. That fence was my therapy. That fence also turned me into Karen's mortal enemy. I didn't know who she was at first. Just saw her walking up and down the street in a reflective vest that said HOA enforcement, even though there hadn't been a functioning HOA in Ash Ridge since 2019. I learned later she had declared herself the acting president and started issuing compliance notices on her own printer. She came by on a Thursday morning. "I'm going to have to cite your fence," she said, not introducing herself, just a clipboard, a badge, and a voice that carried like a court summons. I blinked. "You're going to what it violates setback parameters and exceeds allowable height for shared-facing boundaries." I reached for my blueprint folder. Actually, it meets every requirement in the city zoning ordinance. I'd know. I helped write them. Her eyes narrowed. "So you think you're above the rules?" "No, ma'am," I said. "I am the rules." That didn't go over well. Over the next week, she escalated, left notes on my porch, took pictures of my fence, harassed the contractors I hired to landscape the inside. She even sent a letter to the city zoning board anonymously accusing me of favoritism and illegal self-approval. It was laughable, but also infuriating. Then came the Saturday morning I'll never forget. I was inside making coffee, heard shouting, stepped outside and saw her with a crowbar, trying to rip the back panel off my fence. "You're damaging city-approved property." I called out. She spun on me. "It's not approved. I told you to take it down. You're contaminating the view corridor." "What view?" "The drainage ditch." She stomped her foot. "I'm protecting the community." She jammed the crowbar again this time, cracking the corner slat clean through. That's when I called the police. The responding officer, a level-headed guy named Reed, showed up in under 15 minutes. "Ma'am," he said after reviewing the documents I showed him, "this is all legal. He's compliant across the board." Karen fumed. "He's manipulating the rules, he wrote them." "Yes," Reed said, "because he works for the city. You don't. But this community needs standards. You don't get to enforce them with a crowbar." She was warned. Let off with a citation for vandalism. But she didn't stop. Instead, she doubled down. She emailed every neighbor in Ash Ridge with a mass complaint about a city insider abusing his status to build fortress structures in public space. She printed flyers, held a so-called emergency HOA meeting at the library where 3 people showed up and left halfway through. Still, her campaign grew louder online. Nextdoor exploded. Facebook groups popped off. And then came the petition. She posted it outside the community mailbox, "Remove the illegal fence." 15 signatures. All people she'd manipulated or confused. One woman even told me, "I thought it was about removing a fence someone abandoned behind the park. She never said it was yours." That's when I'd had enough. I gathered my documents, full permit log, inspection approvals, digital time-stamped photos from build day, and I sent them all of them to the mayor's office and the city legal department. Then I sent a public notice on behalf of the City of Durham Planning Department. All structures on this property are compliant with city, county, and residential zoning law. Any continued attempts to harass, defame, or vandalize said property will result in legal action. I posted it on my fence. I also posted it on the neighborhood Facebook group with receipts, and it went viral. Turns out, Karen's been doing this in multiple neighborhoods. She got booted from her last block for targeting an immigrant family about their window treatments, filed a nuisance vegetation report on a veteran who had a service garden, lied about reinstated HOA authority to fine renters who put up solar lights. Screenshots poured in, stories followed. By the end of the week, City Council got involved. The city attorney issued a cease and desist order against her activities, threatened her with criminal misrepresentation if she ever claimed HOA power again. The flyers came down, her fake email accounts reported and shut down, and her violation sign on my fence, I had it framed in my garage. We held a community meeting after all that, a real one, not an HOA meeting, a block-wide gathering at the park. Families brought food, kids ran wild, people talked, cried, laughed. We created a neighborhood council, not for enforcement, just communication, voluntary, transparent, collaborative. We called it the Ash Ridge Roundtable. I was asked to lead it. I declined. Leadership without humility turns into Karen. I said, let's keep this rotating. Karen, she still lives here, for now, but the curtain's down, the clipboard's gone, and when she walks her dog, nobody waves anymore. She violated something far more sacred than fence codes. She broke trust. Call to action. Have you ever watched someone twist rules for their own control? Have you ever been silenced or threatened by someone pretending to represent authority? Let's talk about it. Share your story below. Because real leadership doesn't come from fake titles, it comes from accountability. And in every neighborhood, truth deserves the last word.